Ohayou gozaimasu. Welcome to Ohayou Anime, new little spin-off side stream to our regular Popcast on the Rocks podcast show. Here we're streaming live now on Twitch. This is the third time we're doing this, so we're just getting rolling. Today we're going to talk about we're going to start with a quiz, courtesy of Crunchyroll. And we're going to get into a little more serious topic, talk about some upcoming shows we're looking forward to. I got a manga recommendation again, and then we'll wrap it up with another quiz, and you can help me fill it out. So getting going here. This first one, I'm probably not the best to do this, but we'll do it. If anyone wants to help out, go for it. Which Attack on Titan character are you? I mean, boy, the heyday of MySpace and Facebook sure were a lot of quizzes. So we'll see what kind of quality we got here, and if even I know what character I end up with, because I'm only in the middle of season 2 on Attack on Titan, so I am behind. What is the coolest Titan power? Weird specific ones like controlling other Titans or making weapons from your flesh. Skin hardening. It's versatile for offense and defense. The sheer size of them, it's the best part. The bigger the better. Enhanced healing. You can take a lot of hits. I think that for me, probably enhanced healing. I think that's probably, I always think that with Wolverine, healing factor, it's great. So I'm going to go with that one. How do you feel about Titans? They're misunderstood. They're a misunderstood part of the world we should strive to understand better. They're a scourge on humanity and need to be eliminated. It depends on whose side they're on. They're valuable weapons in the right hands. This is a more difficult one, I would say. I have a feeling if I was further in Attack on Titan, I might have a different viewpoint. But where I'm at now, very behind in season 2. That's the place I'm answering this from. I mean, at the moment, I have to think they're a scourge on humanity and need to be eliminated. Because, to my understanding in the show right now, there was no attempted communication between the Titans and civilization, the rest of humanity. So it was just like war. Now, there's probably more depth. Maybe there's something I'm missing, something I'm not being told that we're going to get to later. But for right now, it depends whose side they're on. I don't like the way that's phrased, whose side they're on. I mean, it depends on if they are stand up for people's rights or if they squash them. Quite literally, I guess. I'm going to say that. Yep. It depends on the side. Because it depends what you do. It's not just a group thing. It's how they each act. Which faction best represents your ideals? Oh boy, this I'm not going to be able to. I want to fight for freedom like the Jaegerists. I want to find a path to peace like Paradis. I want to show the world my strength like Marley. I want to prove myself like the Warriors. Oh boy. Chat, you should be telling me what to do here, but I mean, I'm going to have to say fight for freedom. That's always a good answer, right? This is my book anyways. What's the best way to deal with an enemy Titan user? Have a detailed plan before the battle even starts is foolproof. Having a detailed plan before the battle even starts is foolproof. I could take down Titan by myself if I had to. Okay. There's nothing a coordinate effort by trusting comrades can't overcome. Naturally, by employing our own titans. Yes. Um, I would say coordinated effort by trusting comrades. You can't just sit and rely on, having your own titan. You gotta be able to do it. Otherwise, and by myself, if I had to, well, of course. I mean, I could pick that and try to get Mikasa, but coordinated effort. What inspires you to fight? Trust that tomorrow will be better than today. The well-being of the people I care about. My burning desire for freedom. Honestly, I'm just afraid of what may happen if I don't. Okay. What inspires you to fight? Well, a trust that tomorrow will be better than today. It sounds too optimistic. Feels too optimistic. Oh, Art. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. If you can help with this quiz, have input, please. I'm very far behind in Attack on Titan. So, the well-being of the people I care about. I feel like that feels most instant and pertinent. So if it came down to what you really need for motivation to risk your life like this, that's probably a really good one. But the larger picture, burning desire for freedom, I feel like that has to be the big picture. Even if the emotionality of the well-being of the people I care about is like what gives you the strength on the day. So I guess I could go with either of those, but I'm going to choose to select the big picture one. What is your greatest asset in a team? An analytical mind, my strength in battle, quick wits, my compassion for others. Interesting. Tough to say, being, I'm battling Titans. Never used the gear they do. So I would say in general, it's hard to be self-reflective here. I want to say quick wits, just because I feel like I don't usually, in emergency situations. Well, see, what's saying it was the greatest asset in a team. I was thinking in emergency situations, I don't usually freak out. So that's what I wanted to say there. But at the same time, thinking about just how I play as a team member in video games, which obviously the exact same thing. I would say compassion for others. Like I'm often the support in a team-based thing, trying to protect or heal others. So I guess I'm going to go with that. What does freedom mean to you? A world where no one tells me what I can't do. Being accepted for who I am without compromises. The chance to live peacefully with everyone else. Honestly, I'm not sure it exists. Oh, this is a deeper question. So being accepted for who I am without compromises, that is, I have to say that's kind of silly. But I could see how someone could take that to mean freedom, but that's not possible. So, but that's kind of the final option. Honestly, I'm not sure it exists. So it's interesting. I've never thought of freedom in that way. So this is new to me. I'm surprised this Crunchyroll Attack on Titan quiz is making me think a little bit. I mean, I know I'm not going to select that, and I know I'm not going to select, honestly, not sure if it exists, but it is food for thought. And I'd like to hear from someone that's how they do define freedom. But that's like freedom from I don't know, reality, responsibility. That's not freedom to like do what you will with your own life, because it demands that others don't potentially, So I guess if this is your definition of freedom, then yes, it can't exist without destroying the freedoms of everybody else. Chance to live peace with everyone else. Freedom doesn't mean peace. That's for sure. You can be free. It's not peaceful. So a world where no one tells me what I can't do. Yes, but it's a little bit simplistic in that way. I mean, it's the difference between freedom and liberty, I suppose. But yes, that's the closest definition for sure for me. What is the best way to bring about peace? Okay, be willing to sacrifice anything to achieve it. Coming to an understanding with those who are different from you. In enough might to strike fear in anyone who would threaten it. Fighting for your own freedom first and foremost. Okay, interesting. Well, being willing to sacrifice anything to achieve it. So it depends on how big of a priority peace is for you. Because it's not asking prioritization of peace. It's asking for the best way to get it. And it's also, I honestly didn't think this quiz would take this long. It's only 9 questions, but let's get in serial. Best way to bring about peace. It also depends on what you mean by peace. So we can kind of go back to the freedom question. If that means like inner peace, contentment, then that's mostly on you. If we mean peace as in people and civilizations generally getting along, as I think generally peace is probably being used in this instance, or when we talk about peace, then that's different. So I guess I'm going to kind of use that definition more, that the idea. Hey, Iceman, welcome. How's it going? I'm partway through this almost done with this Attack on Titan quiz that is a lot deeper than I expected, I have to say. So we just were asked about what freedom means to you, and now the best way to bring about peace. Okay, so if you've seen Attack on Titan, for sure, go ahead and help me out, because I'm only in the middle of season 2. But these all of a sudden have gotten non-show relevant. It's just like philosophical questions. So best way to bring about peace. Coming to an understanding with those who are different from you. That's what I'm leaning towards right now, because it's kind of a to each their own sort of thing. It's kind of the closest I can think of. It's if you want to say it's the best way, I don't know. I think it's the most realistic way while maintaining the freedom we just talked about in the previous question. So, fighting for your own freedom first and foremost. It's a good one too. I'm gonna stick with my my initial feeling here. Coming to an understanding with those who are different from you. I think that's probably the right call. All right, last question. The time has come to risk it all for your dreams. Will you answer the call? For your dreams. Okay. Living another day is better than dying for a future you'll never see. I'll pass. I am probably the person leading the charge. I'd gladly lay down my life for the cause. Not for me, but it's important to those I love, I'll join them. But if it's important to those I love, I'll join. So this is another thing that's risk it all for your dreams. What does that mean exactly? What are your dreams? I mean, we've just been talking about freedom and how to achieve peace and, going to battle, what drives you, that kind of thing. This is the tenor of the questions we've been answering. So when it says risk it all for your dreams, do they mean that doesn't suggest, well, I really wanted to be a painter, so therefore, I would think the dreams meaning peace, freedom, stability, happiness, fulfillment, these kinds of things. Less specific, more general, again, big picture topics. So that's the frame of mind I'm going to answer this from. This is like, I gladly lay down my life for the cause. That's really easy to say. That's super easy to say in a thing where you're like setting yourself in a fictional Attack on Titan universe, where there's no risk and you're not face to face with a Titan that's going to squash you. Same with, I'm probably the person leading the charge. So I think, a lot of people are going to say living another day is better than dying for a future you'll never see. I'll pass. And that's realistic. Not for me, but it's important to those I love. I'll join them. That I don't know about. I think people get motivated when it gets personal. I would say like people aren't up in arms about something until I've said people need to be standing in bread lines and not just like someone, you and your cousin, like people before it's bad enough that you are shocked that you'll do something. And so in this case, yeah, your village gets destroyed by a giant, by a Titan. Maybe that's what it takes. That's the time to risk it all, as it's answered here. So if you're in that sort of situation, I would like to say that I would gladly lay down my life for the cause. So in this quiz that you're probably not supposed to take too seriously, that's what I'm going to say. Realizing a lot easier said than done. What do we get? I am okay. All right, I am Aaron Yeager. All right. Like Aaron, you are passionate about your goals, passionate about your friends. Passion defines everything about you, really. Okay, well, I mean, can come on here and see me rant. I guess that's a passion. So that's true, I suppose. This often gets you in trouble as you're willing to do things others might consider wild for the sake of what you care about, but it's all worth it to you in the end. Your intense lifestyle is supported by the friends around you that keep you from going too far, and in return, you do anything for them as well. You doing them. Okay. All right. Well, everybody else, go out there, take the quiz. Let me know what you got. I need to see how Aaron Yeager develops to really know for sure. All right. So that was supposed to be the lighthearted opening quiz. I don't know. I don't know how lighthearted that really was exactly. So we're gonna go to the next thing that isn't lighthearted either. We'll stick to the topic. So this is from a site that is, I'm gonna if I can zoom in. Oh, what did I just do? I'm going to try to zoom in on this. And I guess the best I can say is don't, let's see here. Sorry. Adjusting some things. Okay, we're just going to keep it like this. All right, so this is from a website that has a lot of like pretty adult content on it, but I just started following them because they cover some more of the, I guess, serious topics that other media outlets maybe don't want to, or something on anime and manga side of things. This has been a big concern. So I read here, news site chastises those critical of unfaithful localizations. It's one of those things where there's a growing, and I'm kind of new to this, the growing group of people that are concerned about their favorite pastime, form of entertainment, whatever, anime or manga, being messed with when it comes overseas, when it finds its way west. And it's more concerning because there are fewer companies involved in the space now. For a while, when like anime was just available on VHS or on DVD, and you kind of had these, it was sort of a, I don't know, because it was such a new industry here, we had a number of different companies. They're all trying to do their own localizations, getting deals. And now we still have a lot of companies, thanks to like Netflix, they're producing their own stuff now and everything. But a lot of the other content is going to Crunchyroll and Funimation. I mean, they're kind of big players, and they're both owned by Sony. And Sony is, in the gaming space, also in big trouble. Well, I wouldn't say big trouble. They have people, including myself, that are pretty bothered by their favor of censorship in the last few years, for sure. I don't know when it began exactly. There are whole YouTube sites dedicated to bringing up and calling out every instance where Sony has tried to censor something. And I was just listening to a guy that used to work, well, the former God of War creator, and we disagree on a lot of things, but David Jaffe is his name, but he says, I do have a bone to pick with Sony, because they are not very punk anymore. There's a new horror game coming out that he's been looking forward to, and there's a really graphic scene in there that's going to appear in its original state on Xbox and PC. But PlayStation says, no, you need to adjust this. You need to change that. And he doesn't argue that Sony can't do that, but he argues that it doesn't look very good on them, particularly for a company that was one of the earlier ones to try to push the idea of video games as an art form. And so if you're preaching that this is a grown-up medium, we've got a vast variety of content, and it's designed to be, expression from all these different developers, and we're pushing the art form. Their CEO literally said, we have some of the best stories on PlayStation, and we're ready to tell it. And they've gotten flack for having their own M-rated games be quite graphic, and that being all right. And then they come down on others. There's if you look it up, you can look it up on it's on Switch, it's on a bunch of things. It's called like 21 Girls or something like that. And they changed it completely on PlayStation to 21 Bunnies. Maybe I'm getting the name wrong, but it's essentially they went through and they changed the artwork. So instead of them being girls and they're women, they now are bunnies. And there's kind of countless examples now. There's a lot of situations. So anyways, that's PlayStation, which is Sony, and Sony also, again, owns Crunchyroll and Funimation. So this here article is talking about, let's see, what's the news site? Rice Digital is, as they call it here, a so-called news site dedicated to games and visual novels. The writer says, the sad thing is, though, there is an irregular occurrence at all in... Oh, sorry. The sad thing is, though, this isn't an irregular occurrence at all in the world of localized games. On a seemingly daily basis, people who localize Japanese media, be it manga, anime, or video games, are harassed by a small but very loud minority of individuals online, and to be quite frank, it concerns me for the future of our favorite hobbies. So that's what the article wrote up from Rice Digital. Can head over there if you want to check out the whole thing. But it's another one of those things where to pretend that there's nothing to see here. There is no problem with localization. And are they right? Probably that localizers probably, they have a tough job. And, some of my favorite shows that I've watched in English, no doubt they've changed some stuff so it makes sense for a Western audience. There are stories, local legends, there are idioms and phrases and stuff that are from Japan that make sense to a Japanese audience and don't necessarily for a Western one. For instance, all right, we watched Jujutsu Kaisen and we watched it in English, and I think they did quite a good job in terms of like voice acting. But one of the characters asks another character, it's like a thing he does, who is your ideal woman? Like, what is your ideal woman or whatever? And the one guy, twice, I think there's 2 times in season 1, he mentions Jennifer Lawrence. Now, I didn't look up to see if Jennifer Lawrence is what they said in the Japanese version. If I had a guess, I'd say no. Does that matter? Because it's like, well, if they said some popular Japanese actress that no one in America would know, then it has no meaning to the American audience. So they say Jennifer Lawrence, giant superstar. Now that's someone that we understand, we're familiar with. So I've been to panels where they talked about the difficulty of localizing and making those things work, making jokes that maybe wouldn't land here, and I can see even on that, purists being upset that would be the case, that you would change that at all. I think fewer people have an issue with that. And so if that was the only thing that you had trolls or hateful people or whatever coming after localizers because they're changing the name of one actress to another, they're making jokes make sense to an American audience in like the most basic way, I think there's probably less complaints about that. Because the examples I've seen, and if you're interested and you're, I guess, an adult, you can go to santokucomplex.com. And there are other places I'm sure on YouTube that break up these lit videos too, but they give back and forth examples of what it was like originally, what they change it to, and you can see it's getting more dramatic than just so a Western audience can make sense of it. They're getting more dramatic in terms of like, well, we think that this is offensive and therefore we'll change this to something we think is more appropriate. And so that's pretty directly and specifically changing what was originally being conveyed. And so if you have fewer and fewer companies doing the localization, and this is the path they want to take, then yeah, it's kind of concerning. It's one of those things. I talked about it a little bit on the main podcast, but everything that gets to a certain level of popularity starts to get noticed by more and more people, by more and more mainstream press, by more people that they're not really into it. They just know now it exists. Like you get there's Japanese artists that get called out and bothered on Twitter constantly because someone doesn't like their art. Someone finds their art offensive. And so what we end up getting is companies like Funimation or Crunchyroll, now that means Sony, potentially getting concerned about capitulating to people that aren't even fans of the content to begin with. Because the question is, who is this for? So you change something to fit a different ideology that you think is more appropriate for a Western audience. That's just you like placing your morals on the. I mean, it's like a translator, or if you're your job is to do the transcript in a court. You don't get to monkey with what they said. You have to put what they said. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. That's the job of a localizer. Now it gets a little more complicated again if you want to make it so the thing you're bringing over can make sense in every situation. You know, obviously our sentences are even constructed differently, so there's changes. You know, but that's supposed to be the job of a localizer, tough or not, is to accurately transcribe and adapt. And it just doesn't seem like that's happening. I'm not going to play this clip. I don't know if I get hit by some sort of copyright thing or whatever. But they're doing things, localizing in the way that it's political correctness, pretty hardcore. And it just reminds me of like back in the day with Sailor Moon. I remember a lot of people having trouble with Sailor Moon. Had some, if I am not mistaken, a couple of the sailors had a lesbian relationship, and they cut all that, or at least heavily implied, and they cut all that stuff out for kids, bringing that over to the West. And we're getting the same kind of like thing now, and I'm just not a fan of it on any way. I don't care what you think about the content. If the content is offensive to your sensibilities, then it's not for you. And these localizers shouldn't be trying to change it to make it fit those delicate sensibilities. Would be my take. So anyways, it's a thing I'm going to keep talking about. It's the third episode here. It's the first time I'm broaching the subject. I think it's going to continue to be more and more of a problem as the medium grows and gets more and more popular. And yeah, just don't listen to people. My advice: don't listen to people that don't actually care about it. You know, if you don't actually consume anime and manga, you don't actually care about it. Don't be concerned with those that never cared to begin with. You know, if they act like they're going to all of a sudden, oh, you make this more appropriate for me, you add more you make anime a little more woke, then I'll be all in on it. It's not the way that's not what's going to happen. So okay, on to lighter things. Let's see, I have to reshift this now. I was just like shifting the window to cover up any potentially scandalous looking stuff. So I'll start by saying, because we're going into Demon Slayer, start by saying that I just finished season 2 of Demon Slayer this morning, and it was good. It's a little longer episode, but I do wish that they had just done the last 2 episodes together. You know, one extra long thing, because they said 45 minutes. It wasn't really 45 minutes. It was, 30 something, 40. So in a 45-minute time slot, I guess, adding commercials and stuff. But it was a good ending, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm hoping to have a friend on to talk about the season a little bit more as once he's done with it, once he's caught up. But in the meantime, we're gonna look at the good news. This is from Anime News Network. The Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Entertainment District arc anime ended on Sunday with an announcement that Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba manga's Swordsmith Village arc, let's see how to say that. Katakanji? Yeah, Katakanji no Satohen will also have a television anime. So that's not surprising, I guess, but it's good to have the official announcement that indeed the whole gang is coming back to adapt more of the Demon Slayer manga into anime. And I like how they're doing this so far. It's like every season is kind of introducing you to a new Hashira, a new members of the Demon Slayer core. So I'm excited to, we got to know Tengen in this last season, season 2. So I'm excited to get to know these other characters that they're advertising in these posters that we've seen before, but obviously need more information on them. What are they like? That kind of thing. So yeah, I don't think we have a when is this going to happen yet, but let's see. No, it's just talking about kind of the past, what has happened. Yep, no idea when we're gonna get that next. So next thing, we'll stick on the Demon Slayer train, which this is really interesting, also from Anime News Network. In quotes, Rengoku donates 100,000 yen to Saitama's Fujimi City Hall, which is such a Japanese thing to do. An unknown do-gooder donated about $860 to Fujimi City Hall under the moniker Kyojoru. Oh, no, sorry, I said that all wrong. I'm not used to saying his first name. Kyojudo Rengoku. City staff announced on February 9th the cash was dropped off in an envelope in the municipal building's comment box. The patron wrote on the outside of the envelope, "Please use for the good of the people." How optimistic of him. I would think there is be a charity somewhere that your money would be safer with. But again, this feels very Japanese. Yeah, it's kind of funny to do it anonymously and just use the character's name. They also said last year, another mysterious benefactor donated 100 masks to a nursing school in Iwate Prefecture. They identified themselves as Inosuke Hashibita. So everybody is like ready to jump on the Demon Slayer. I'm from Demon Slayer and doing good bandwagon. It's kind of funny, kind of cool, kind of funny. Okay, switching topics. Also from Anime News Network, but um, I thought of this one because of my Popcast on the Rocks co-host Andrea and her new kiddo. That there's this deal with G Kids and Tubi. Tubi, Tubi, the streaming service. Um, G Kids, I guess, has a number of anime that they distribute, including the Studio Ghibli library. So if you got kids and you're looking for a free way to access some more content, anime content, later this month, Tubi's gonna start streaming stuff from G Kids. So that's always fun. Andrew and I have talked about the slide of American comics and how, like, kind of when we grew up, it really felt like a golden age, and now it's a little less than ideal. All right, three more things. Firstly, this is not unexpected either, that there's going to be a Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, but we do know now that it's coming in 2023. So we've got a year to wait, depending on when it's going to be exactly. Probably fall, winter, or something like that. But this is the artwork they posted on Twitter and stuff. Looks like I think they announced it at some event for the movie in Japan the other day. So yeah, I'm excited, ready to go. Bring it on, Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. Last story here before I do my manga recommendation. So, which romantic comedy should you watch if you're single? So if anyone wants to help me out with this, because I am not single, so I'm gonna have to just pretend here and stuff, depending on how these questions go. Hopefully they're more lighthearted than the Attack on Titan one. Which romantic comedy should you watch if you're single? Valentine's Day might not be the best when you're by yourself, but if you still want some romance, all you have to do is answer these questions and you can spend some time with some goofy and fun anime love stories. Plus, if you're by yourself, these shows will take your mind off of that and leave you in a happier state than you were previously. Not only will these shows fill your heart with wholesome feelings, they'll make you laugh and be full of joy by the time you're finished watching them. Shake away those Valentine's blues with one of these series. All right, starting up. What kind of leading guy would you be interested in? Okay. A short king who doesn't let his lack of height hinder him. A timid amateur doll maker. A big fella with a heart of gold. A guy who meets his crush after nearly dying. A prince who has a lot of competition to deal with. Aspiring manga artist who gets his friends to help him out on his manga. Okay, it's very specific to shows. A timid amateur doll maker, I'm definitely not answering that because I am watching My Dress Up Darling, and I cannot understand this protagonist. it's difficult to watch sometimes. Big fellow with a heart of gold, guy who meets his crush after nearly dying. Like, what does that have to do with anything, really? Like, nearly dying. I don't want to think about whoever they're referring to for these. I feel like that's cheating. It's like taking the Hogwarts sorting hat test and think, oh, what's your favorite color? And you choose green because you want to be in Slytherin or whatever. That's like that. No. So a prince is nice because you'd have, you'd be taken care of. You have money and stuff. But it's got lots of competition. So if you're kind of a jealous type, then maybe not. A big fella with a heart of gold. Okay, I can't take as long as I did on Attack on Titan. I'm gonna say a prince. That seems logical, right? And you're putting yourself in a show that is maybe more interesting. You're dealing with royalty. How comedic would you want your romance series to be? Okay. Oh yeah, this is supposed to help me find a show, I guess. So I gotta keep that in mind. I want it to be very funny. Can have some comedy, but it doesn't need to be everywhere. A mix of comedy and drama is nice. I feel like if you're single and you're worried about Valentine's blues, I think you'd want it to be very funny, right? You don't want. That's what I would say. You want it to be very funny. You don't want to be worried about other things. How long of a series would you like to watch? Something short and sweet. Tackle in a day at work. Tackle in a day would work. I want something a bit length so I can get invested. It's a good one. Again, if this is event specific. Oh, hey, I am Rimudo. Have you watched the Demon Slayer last episode? I have, yes. Just watched it this morning. How about you? I'll keep going with the quiz. I'll wait for an answer there, because I won't ruin anything if you haven't seen it. I would say for this, something short and sweet. Because again, we're talking about for an event. So find a show for Valentine's if you're single. So short. Are you a fan of slow burn romances, or do you want to see a couple get together quickly? Okay, so I am Rimudo says, how was it for you? So I thought it was a good conclusion. I had said earlier, I just wish that episode 10 and 11 were together. I think that it was less satisfying to see episode 10 and then go over to wait a week and then see episode 11, because really the climax is in episode 10. Makes sense. You got to kind of wind down, wrap things up. But yeah, I would have liked to see just one longer thing. You agree? Okay, yeah. Because when I saw episode 10, I thought, well, okay, how are you gonna, like, that was amazing. I was on the edge of my seat. How are you going to top that for the finale? And well, the answer is you can't. So we got some emotional stuff. We got some background, which makes sense, as we always get with demons and stuff. But yeah, I would have liked just one big event. I think it didn't help that they promoted this final episode as 45-minute finale. It made me think like, oh, is there something else crazy that's going to happen? So it kind of got my hopes up for that to be the case. But yeah. Yeah, thanks for jumping in. I am Udemudo, and did you let's see. It's funny that Automod is trying to like censor a post is worried you're saying something bad. It's see it show up. Okay, yeah. I would want a full long continuous fight scene and just one episode of backstory. So would you like it the whole, like, more of the season compressed? Like, obviously the fight took up a lot of the season. Yeah, very sense. Yeah, exactly. Um, would would you want to see, because the fight took place around, I don't know how many episodes. You're saying you want it compressed into just one episode, so you didn't have to have all those breaks week after week after week. Obviously that would dramatically shorten. No, it's got 10. Yeah, right. 10 and 11 be one episode. Yeah, completely agree. Because every other episode in the season basically flew by for me. I was listening to one podcast and they were saying how they thought like not much was happening in the season, and they wanted more to occur. But I don't know. I think it was a good setup in the beginning. What they were trying to do. We had some comedic moments. Yeah, everybody played a role. They all had something different to do in their respective like places that were spying. And then once the battle got going, like I didn't know what to expect. It kept escalating. Again, the animation is just uh, insane. So, did I read the manga? I didn't. Did you? I don't want to know anything about the manga. I definitely have like a back and forth on. Sometimes I do both. Sometimes one or the other. But yeah, I'm really enjoying not knowing. It's the same as Jujutsu Kaisen right now. Like I'm not reading the manga. I'm not going to. I discovered the show and I'm watching the show. You did? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Do you feel it compares well? I mean, are they doing a good job adapting it into anime form in your mind? Um, let's see here. Um, while you answer that, I'm gonna try to answer this here. Yeah, are you a fan of slow burn romance, or do you want to see a couple together quickly? Yep. Well, part of the problem with anime is sometimes they never get together. There's never progress. It's always the tension of the what if, and then there's no one ever confesses. It's just so I usually don't prefer, and so that can be a slow burn to a never happening. Um, let's see. So I'm gonna say forget all the waiting around. Let me see them be a couple. Let's say that. Okay. Rimuro. The anime adaptation is very good actually, and the fight scenes, their budget is big. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't feel like because obviously the fight in this season took up so much of the season, but it doesn't feel like something like Dragon Ball can be, where there's so much filler. Where there's just waiting around, or there's power up sequences, or all of a sudden, like I always think of that when I would watch Bleach back in the day, and I could just watch through it. Um, I was like, man, I would be so mad at times if I'm watching Bleach and then I have to wait a week between every episode, and the episode that comes out is some backstory about Cone. And it might be funny, but you were in the middle of something. And now I waited a week to find out what happened, and the next episode is something completely unrelated, or nothing really happens. So this show, I didn't feel any of that stuff. I'm just grateful for that. Like every episode felt quick. Every episode ended basically with a cliffhanger. It was always escalated into the next week, and I always got something cool. And I think the only situation recent is what we've talked about now already with episode 10 and 11, how it would serve them better to just be combined. And I wonder if that's just the nature of it still airing, like how it aired in Japan, sort of thing. If it's still like what's going to show up on television, so you have to deal with whatever time slot that you're allowed. That would be my guess. So, and but yeah, I'm glad that the adaptation is good. Um, let's see. A couple more questions here. Do you want to see a specific partner be the pursuer before the relationship, or for it to be an equal courtship? Like when the guy goes after the girl, I'm cool with both partners try and go after each other. I want to see the girl pursue the guy. Boy, I don't know that I care there. Trying to think of an example where it's when both partners try to go after each other. Like, how does that work exactly? Because if they're both trying to go after each other, then they would just be together, right? I guess unless they're like split up. They're like, they literally can't come together. Different areas or different sides of a war or something like that, I suppose. Um, this question has less meaning to me. I would say, as a guy, it's probably more preferable to see the girl pursue the guy. It's just sort of the fantasy element of that, I suppose. Um, and I think that's normally the way it is as well. An anime designed for young men or something, it's more common for the girls to be after the guy, and vice versa for stuff targeted more directly at women. So I guess I'm gonna stick to my stereotype. Um, are you looking for something that is a bit older or something that aired very recently you might have missed? That's a good question too. Um, so, Rimuro, if you have any input on this, you let me know. Otherwise, if there is, let me know what whether manga now that Demon Slayer is done for now. Oh, here, okay. Have you watched The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime? I haven't. Should I? I've heard good things. My wife was gonna start it, and then I'm like, oh, but I kind of want to watch that too. So it's been on the back burner. I don't know how. Yes, you should. Okay. Yeah, I never know what to prioritize. I'm trying to get, that's kind of relevant to this question here, trying to get to where I can keep up a little better on things I'm interested in because my back catalog is big. So right now I'm generally more hesitant to go back to watch something older because so much new stuff always coming out. Storyline is getting better and better every episode or season. To be honest. Okay. Well, that's great because a lot of times it falls apart. It's kind of like um shoot. Well, Promised Neverland for one. Uh season 2 I thought was disastrous. A really disappointment. I mean, I think it's cuz to me season 1 was such a high for Promised Neverland that season 2 really felt so rushed. Like I just couldn't believe that. And it was kind of the same kind of board. Yeah, yeah. It there was a lot of stuff that was really set up very interesting, and I can see getting bored in there because they tried to make it more like philosophical and interesting after a little bit, but never really followed through on it. People's motivations didn't ring true, and then when it wrapped up, it was just way too convenient and quick. It didn't feel earned. Uh, Pretty sad because I loved season 1. Um, Rising the Shield Hero is much better than Promised Neverland. Um, okay, so you might be right. I just saw that they announced another season coming of Promised Neverland, or sorry, of Rising Shield Hero. I I watched quite a lot of that show, and really did like it, but I quit because it made me so mad. Like I just couldn't hardly take it. The injustice in that show towards the shield hero is infuriating. Like I just does that bother you? Like hype for season 2? Yeah. I mean, the art was good, music was good, animation's good, like this, and the story was good too. It's yeah, you're in another world kind of thing, but it felt more a little more real, a little more adult. Um, it is made you cry actually. Yeah, it's just when people, I think some people on the outside that aren't familiar with anime think that again it's just a cartoon or something like that, and it's stuff like Shield Hero that remind me how incredibly impactful it can be. And again, I've watched all kinds of shows where people are mean to each other, but the way that they treat this shield hero in that show is just, it's just beyond. It's beyond. So our bloods would be boiling when we're done with every episode. And I have to imagine eventually there's some justice served. But yeah, maybe I'll pick that one back up. I should. I've heard over and over again, it's so good, and I agree. It just was like I had to be in a different state of mind where I could watch this person be abused in such a manner, and then still enjoy the show, man. Um, but yeah, I'm watching Toilet Bound Chronicle Coon right now too, and that's that's different, but that's also getting pretty emotional. So that's been a very unique, different, effective show. Um, and the other season, the other show I was going to talk about in comparison to Promised Neverland was Sword Art Online, where that one I loved season one and then really fell off in season two. Just didn't it didn't live up. But I'm under the impression, and be interested if you think the same thing. I'm under the impression that if you get through season two of Sword Art Online, that the subsequent season is very good. So I don't know, but all right. Let's see, a couple left on this quiz. Are you looking for something that is a bit older? Oh yeah, older or very recently, minus. So given what I just said, basically, I'm gonna go with looking for something you might have missed that came out. Um, what kind of leading lady would you be interested in? Tall girl who wants to not be known as one half of a comedic duo. Okay. Small girl who likes to bake sweets. Isekai girl who somehow became a character in a video game she liked. So isekai girl is a descriptor now. I didn't realize that could be used that way, but very outgoing and sweet, but likes to tease, likes to get married quickly. Might also be from the moon. Okay. Girl who's very into lead guy, but somehow gets roped into helping out with his work. Well, this one sounds funnier. This option, if we're talking for wanting something funny, kind of leading lady, small, tall girl who wants. Well, I think this is referring to the show I'm watching now, My Dress Up Darling. Yeah, Isekai is transfer a different world. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that they like added an apostrophe D to it. Like it could be, I haven't seen it used in that way. Um, Josh Bird, welcome to the chat. Is like hard to. I don't know what that this guy that so yeah you must be familiar with what show that is. Um, I think that sounds funny, and I don't know what you're referring to. So I'm gonna select that one, and maybe we end up getting that show. Would you want the couple to have known each other in the past? I think the childhood friends thing is maybe overused, so I'm gonna go with they just happen to meet. What do we get? Oh my god. Okay, you should watch Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. All right. If you ever want to know how ridiculous Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun is, the opening scene sees Sakura trying to confess to Nozaki, but gets his autograph instead. It's a wealth of silly gags, jokes, and wholesomeness that fills out the rest of the series, all while you keep rooting for Sakura to get her guy. I think I tried an episode or two of this. Let's see. The last one, second. Okay. So is this what show are you referring to with this what? Ari Fureta? How a realist hero reveal can would be a lot better. Oh, okay. How a realist hero would be. I've heard of that one, but I don't know anything about that. Um, Interesting. That's about all I have for different anime news slash quizzes to take. I was gonna give a manga recommendation yet. So I'm gonna give a manga recommendation, but then for you in chat, both you. So let's see, Josh Bird, thanks for the follow. Um, give me your manga recommendations. So each of you pick one that I should look into while I give my pick. Last week I recommended How Heavy Are the Weights You Lift for something really unique and different. This one I'm going to an older one that is one of my absolute favorites. It's short for words, but Blam. Spelled blame, to my understanding, used to say blam. I don't know for sure on that. But it's by Tsutomu Nihei, and I just am completely in love with the world that he creates for this. He's done other things, very similar sort of artwork. It's very dystopian and dark. It's I won't show too much of what's inside, but he has a very unique art style, very specific in the way that he draws like intricate architecture and the scale that he creates. So Blam, it's pretty long, but you can read it fast because there's very little dialogue. So I reread it. It's kind of complicated despite like some of the plot being pretty simplistic. But yeah, I'll turn on like some sort of. There's a YouTube channel called Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. There's a couple channels like that I follow, and they basically have music that's like called like Nuclear Wasteland or Abandoned Space Station or whatever, and it's just like ambient kind of dark, moody music, and I'll put that on and read Blam, and yeah. I strongly recommend. Let's see. So Ari Furenta from Commonplace to World's Strongest. That is the anime I was referring to. Okay. I've read that before, but stopped reading. Blam. Yeah. I can see it being a very specific thing. Like or niche, I suppose. It's if you don't love the art, it's this art a lot, and it's pretty consistent. If you're not into this like weird, doesn't explain much dystopian thing. And again, I remember being a kid when I first got this. When it came out, I think I found it like a Sam Goody or something like that. Let's see, when was this from? It was published in 2005, this copy, though it was written earlier than that. And I only read the first few volumes then. And I don't know what happened later in life that I decided to get back into it. But then I bought them all, the whole series, digitally, and just fell in love with it, and now I kind of want to get the like master collections of them. So if you were into the art style, I really recommend it. If you're into but yeah, I felt bad as a kid buying this volume here for $10, and I could read it in a matter of minutes because there's so little dialogue. But I like it so much, I've written a short like Dungeons and Dragons type tabletop role-playing thing that I want to do sometime with a few people. It's just kind of inspired by this and using the characters, and it's whatever. And so all right, well, that's about all I got for today. We've had a pretty long stream. It's been over an hour, which is I've been meaning to keep these just like 15-20 minutes, but those quizzes took a while. And I am Minamuto. Thanks so much for jumping in and contributing to the conversation. I appreciate that a lot. I'm hoping to have what was the quiz you took? Okay, so there's two of them. So they're both on Crunchyroll News. One is Which Attack on Titan character are you? One of those kind of things. But it was surprisingly deep. So it took a while. And then this other one here, the if you're single on Valentine's Day, what anime should you watch? So I got Aaron Yeager for Attack on Titan, and then the I just forgot what I got for the last one. Monthly Girls, Nozaki-kun. That's what it was for the romance one. Attack on Titan, totally hated and loved that anime. um, love hate, huh? Yeah, I'm just in the middle of season two. I'm very far behind. I feel bad. Final season's coming out, all this stuff. I was in season two and it was getting really slow for me. And I recently started back up, started getting more exciting again. So I intend to keep going. But yeah, you finished it. So should I keep going? Is it worth it? Now you've seen it all the way through. I'm in the middle of season two. Do you hate it as well because of something with the ending, or is it just I need to know? Should I invest my time in it? I've been told yes, but I don't know. I'm I'm relying on. I just hate how and why the ending is, but it's very good. Okay, continue it. Okay, all right. Yes, I'll have to finish it, catch it, let you know what I think of it. I'm hoping to have someone on, a friend, once he's finished seeing all of Demon Slayer as well, to kind of get his thoughts on this latest season and some of the characters, um, and uh, and yeah, stay tuned for that. This show, Ohayou Anime, is just going to be a morning show when I can make it work and when there's some news to talk about. And otherwise, our weekly podcast, Popcast on the Rocks, is on YouTube and podcast directories and all that sort of thing. There we talk about other pop culture things, including anime, but sometimes it's more like right now we're talking about Raised by Wolves from HBO Max. So that's with my co-host Andrea. Anyways, follow us, Popcast on the Rocks, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that sort of thing. And again, I am Rumudo. Thank you very much for participating, and for the follow, and thank you as well for Josh Bird getting in here and following as well. That'll about do it for me, and we'll see you all next time.